Okay, guys. I come home from work early on this beautiful Friday. I get in the shower, clean up, get out of the shower, and you two knuckleheads are pounding on my door to let you in. We recorded 2 shows last week, so what the hell are you guys doing here?
Commander 2018 is being released this week, and successful and well-known and well-respected podcasts and content creators are given a preview card to share with the world before spoilers start.
Someone screwed up because they gave us one too.
Welcome to Commander Central episode 50, an episode that we're going to rush and record before someone at Wizards of the Coast realizes they made a terrible mistake and gave a preview card to 3 guys recording in Max's Pleasure Palace. I tried to think of what we hadn't called the basement yet, so I thought Pleasure Palace was good. I'm Dana.
I'm Max.
And I'm Chris.
Welcome to Commander Central special episode number 50. So this is being recorded, but it'll air on Wednesday, July 25th, which will be in the middle of spoiler week, because we here at Commander Central got a spoiler card from Wizards of the Coast as a kind gesture free of charge, and we are really excited to have it.
So we are going to make a little game out of revealing our preview card. So do we have a hint to get it started?
First hint.
First hint.
Out of the bag we go. Whooshed. Okay, I have my paper. We open it up and it says that it is a reprint
Okay, it's a reprint card.
that is legal in Modern.
So it's a reprint card from the last 10-ish years or so. Is that how far back Modern goes?
Something like that.
8th edition, M10 would have been 8, 9, 10, about 11 years, yeah.
Okay. So it's a Modern legal reprint. So how about this? I'll throw one more hint out there. It is a card from the Bant Enchantment deck. So it's in some color combination that is not black or red.
Well, we should probably say it's a legendary creature card. That's interesting.
Okay, so what do we have so far here?
Modern legal,
Legendary.
and it's in some combination of Bant colors.
All right. Chris.
So we can probably narrow it down a little more. So how are we going to do that? We can do that by saying that this character has had 2 different versions of her own card in 2 different blocks set on the same plane.
Okay, so first of all, I heard her in there, so it would be a female legendary character.
I heard the word plane, and I don't want to talk about those right now.
Because you just got off a plane that was a
Long week.
long week. All right.
I remember hearing about that.
So what planes in Modern have had 2 sets? Mirrodin, Ravnica, Zendikar, Innistrad, and I guess Time Spiral was on Dominaria, so Dominaria. Okay, so it's a card from one of those planes.
That really doesn't narrow it down, but let's see. Zendikar doesn't really do much with enchantments.
It does not. None of those legends care about him.
Neither does Mirrodin, because if I'm not mistaken, Mirrodin's all about those old
It
artifacts.
is all about the artifact love.
Glissa the traitor.
Oh, yeah. Overrated commander.
Over
101.
should have been on the list. So Ravnica, and I don't think there's anything in Dominaria I can think of that's enchantment concerned either. So we can rule those out. What do we got left?
So that leaves Innistrad.
Innistrad. All right. So it's a legend from Innistrad that cares about enchantments. It's a her.
It's a her?
Odric, Master... No, that's not Odric. That's not.
We support that.
All right. I think that's as many hints
Yeah,
because we
I'm
can...
thinking so as well.
Yeah.
All right. So at this point, I'm assuming you should have guessed it. But in case you haven't, Bruno
Avacyn
White of
Archangel.
Avacyn.
What?
Wait.
What?
Did we get 2 cards and didn't know?
The other Avacyn is red. It can't be in this.
Right. There we go. Right. And Avacyn has 3 cards, technically, and we said 2. So,
Yeah, the
so
M15
She does have
one.
3.
yeah. So Bruno White of Alabaster. One thing I will mention, because this confused me yesterday. So I went to look up how many decks Bruno was in an EDH rack, and they have 841 decks where she's the commander. I'm like, okay, well, how many decks is she in? Because she's not going to be the face card of this because it's a Bant Enchantress deck, so she'll just be in the deck. So I clicked on how many decks it is, and it said 841. I'm like, well, that can't be right because certainly she's in at least one person's, I don't know what other band enchantment you'd be running with. Like, I'm sure someone has a Rafik enchantment deck that she's in,
Derevi or
or
Rune.
something, right? So I was like, how could that not? So I asked Don Miner at EHREC, I'm like, can you tell me, is it just not showing up? Is it a glitch or something? And it took him a few minutes to get back to me. He's like, no, it just so happens to be in 841 decks as well. It's in the exact same amount of decks as it is as the commander of the deck.
Really?
So it's the commander of 841 decks, and it's in an additional 841.
That's a paradox. I think.
Yeah, so that's the perfectly balanced card right there,
So
I guess.
shouldn't that have been like 1,682 decks?
Because it doesn't
overall?
show. It doesn't show total. It shows how many
Okay.
decks it's the commander of and how many it's in where it's not the commander.
Okay, that makes sense.
So that means there's a 600 or 1,600 essentially Bruna cards either index or top of it. But so anyway, that kind of threw me for a loop yesterday. So let's talk about Bruna here a little bit briefly. We don't need to do we're not going to do a huge long segment here on it. But we might as well talk about it since it's our awesome preview card.
Another overrated commander.
Another overrated
Yes.
commander.
But she will not be leading the deck.
That's actually right. That's actually a good point because I want to. We'll touch on that. So first of all, what in general are your thoughts on Bruna, Light of Alabaster as a card? You said overrated. Do you think it's overrated as a commander or as a card, Chris?
As a commander, I find it just to be a weak deck overall. It can go off, kill one person, just can't stabilize after that.
I think if we're gonna reference Dana's categorizations from last week's show, or 2 weeks ago actually. Wow, I'm
Time travel.
time
Right,
traveling
time
again.
travel, right.
Bruna to me falls into that category of it's a commander that can't handle the heat it generates.
I would agree with that. Because you will one shot somebody.
Oh yeah, instantly.
Because the way Bruna works is when she attacks, you attach any aura that's in your hand or graveyard or in play.
Yep.
To her.
Of
So-
your choosing.
Of your choosing. So for the most part, how it works is you play Bruna. If no one kills her, you swing at somebody, and suddenly she becomes a 28/28 or something because, an Eldrazi Conscription shows up on her, and an Angelic Destiny shows up on her, and
Yeah, 'cause you
Rancor shows up
traumatize
on her.
yourself and-
Right. So then you just blow somebody up, and then someone board wipes, and they keep you from playing Bruna again, or kill her before you can attach all the auras to her, and then that's it.
Yep.
So it winds up being a really one-dimensional commander that's tough to do much past killing that first person. However, in this particular case, it's not going to be the commander; it's going to be in the deck.
Which intrigues me because I don't think I've ever seen
I
Bruna
agree.
in a deck.
I
always
like
see
it a
as
lot.
general.
I like it a lot in the deck. Number one, no one can see it coming until you play it.
Yep.
Because when you're playing a Bruna as a commander, people are kind of counting your mana and keeping an eye on where you're at, so they know when they have to worry about Bruna coming down, and they want to have removal in hand before you can protect her. With this case, all of a sudden it's just going to be you're doing your thing, and you play Bruna, and they're like, oh man, you've already played some other threat probably because it's an Enchantress deck in Bant. Then you play Bruna, they have to deal with two things. Okay, is Bruna going to attack and suddenly suck every aura in the game onto herself, or is the person just going to leave Bruna back while they play other threats?
Well, it makes me curious about the deck itself that she's going to be in since we have no clue about it.
Right, yeah.
Is it going to be an aura-based deck, or is it going to be more of an enchantment-based deck, so Bruna's really not going to do too much?
Because this is going to come out Wednesday morning, and the Wednesday's the Enchantress deck. So like Wednesday's when all the spoiler stuff. So by the time if you're listening to this on Wednesday, we probably don't know much about the deck yet.
Right, because previews won't hit till
Yep.
Wizards time. 10 o'clock
Right.
Central, 8 o'clock.
And then throughout the day,
Their
you'll
time.
see spoilers coming out, and so we'll get
Yep.
a feel for it. But I like it. Like, let's say there's a really good, say it's basically Bant Karametra or something. If that's your commander, okay, well, you're doing your things around that commander. You're playing auras, you're playing enchantments, doing whatever. Well, then you have the option to drop Bruna as well. The original commander that's the commander of your deck is there being scary and having to be dealt with. But Bruna can just swing at any time and also turn into the threat automatically by pulling every aura onto her. So
Right.
I like her a lot in the deck. I think it's going to be a really cool card there.
It
Yep.
should be interesting. That's
Yeah.
why I'm super curious about the deck itself.
I agree. I'm curious just because, through the years, these precons have gotten a lot more tuned in the
Yeah.
form of, the generals try to work together as a team
Yep.
versus, the Oloro deck didn't do much with Shroom and vice versa.
I don't know what you're talking about. Mathis and the vampire deck was just, I
True.
don't know
An
why
all-star.
he was there.
But, we're in Bant, so there's not much haste that I can think of outside
Yeah.
of like Lightning Greaves or Boots. But if this is enchantment, are we going to see a lot of artifacts? But what could be interesting to see maybe some enchantments that enable flash.
Yeah.
So you could flash her in before your turn,
Before end
then
of
you
turn.
can swing away. Because without giving Bruna haste with her in the 99, is she really that scary if you have a whole turn to sit there and not do anything with her?
When you're in green, so you do have Concordant Crossroads, which is an enchantment.
Right.
So that would be one option there. But like you said, Flash is nice too because you can lay on anticipation and just do Bruna before end of turn and then swing with her.
Yeah.
When someone definitely wouldn't see it coming because it's in your
Pray to
hand.
God that Wizards does not reprint Sylvan Library.
I'd actually be okay with that. I need a couple.
I have a couple. Don't reprint them. Let me trade them to Max.
Let me get rid of them first.
I think you owe me for an All's Dust.
I do.
There we go.
You need a Sylvan Library? I have like 3 of them just chilling.
Nice.
Well, so you mentioned bad commanders in decks. Like, so if you're building Ed Markov deck, you almost always pulled out
Mathis.
for sure, and
probably Lycia.
Lycia wasn't that good in that deck either.
Too high CMC for what the deck was trying to accomplish.
Right.
And the same thing was for the Wizards deck for the most part. You were pulling most of those Wizards out. Maybe you left
Kess.
in, yeah, maybe.
You keep
but-
Anala and Kess, but the I can't even remember the third one.
Casanala
the
and
Birdcage
Marisol Pretender.
The Pretender. Yep.
So none of those worked really well together. Whereas in this case, I feel like if I have a tough time imagining what this deck looks like where you pull Bruna out. Unless you are really set on some super low to the ground CMC situation, I feel like almost any version of a Bant Enchantress deck, this is just a really good card in that deck as a backup plan.
I could get behind that.
I totally agree with that. Yeah, she's perfect in the 99. You're in green, so your ramping to 6 isn't going to be a problem at all.
Right,
Even
yeah.
if you do tweak the precon a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering with her being in the deck, if they're going to go the route of you have one general who's Bant, and then one's going to be a green-white, and Bruna's blue-white. So your 3 generals are that route instead of being all 3 of
The same color.
the same color.
I would bet she is just like we had, what was the mono white cat? Balin was in
Yep.
the cat deck, but it wasn't one of the 3. Or
Okay.
we had both the Taigums
Yep.
last year, though they weren't the face generals in the
Yep.
deck. So I would bet we get 3. We get 3 generals of the actual colors,
Okay.
and then there's a couple additional cards that are just in the deck because they're good. And I would guess she falls in that role. She's just in the deck because she's good in the deck, and probably is good with all 3 generals. I'm hoping.
I would hope so, too.
One thing about Enchantress as a theme, I feel like it's really tough to have the cards not synergize. Like, I get how in that vampire deck, the vampires are all doing different things, so they didn't maybe play well together, but I feel like anything that cares about enchantments probably plays pretty well with other cards that care about enchantments for the most part.
I just
Oh.
hope it's not a repeat of the Daxos deck. I thought that would have been strong, but it really wasn't phenomenal by any means.
No.
Yeah. They had a really tough time that year with, I think, the experience counters. I felt like they were either super, super strong or they weren't strong enough. They didn't really have one that felt fair, maybe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything else about Bruna we want to touch on here? We'll do this quick. This is going to be a short episode because our preview card, but
She's good.
yeah,
She's good in this type of deck, and I really hope it's just tuned enough to where there isn't only like 3 or 4 auras in the entire deck, because then it's not going to be that good.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. This is a deck I'm most looking forward to seeing is this particular one.
I think it's my second one that I really want to see. I'm really interested in the Esper Top of Library deck, just because it's a very unique theme.
I'm really curious how that deck looks too.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the one I'm really looking forward to, just because it's a very unique theme. Hasn't been done in the past for Commander. I mean, there's Lantern Control in Modern,
Right.
but how do you do that in a 100-card singleton format? So
Black Miracles. Prince of New Black Miracles.
we'll see. I bet we get a Sensei's Divining Top reprint. That'd be pretty cool,
Yeah.
because it's the only format you can play it in.
Right.
It is.
And Scroll Rack will be nice for that deck. I think Scroll Rack's probably too expensive for it.
Yeah.
Top might be too expensive for it.
Yeah, that's pushing 20.
But I bet Future Sight is
Why
in
is
there.
it going up when it's like not
'Cause
legal in
You
anything?
can only play it in Commander.
I mean, honestly, Commander might be the format that drives prices. Commander in Modern
Mm-hmm.
drives those prices more than anything else.
But we're
So,
not an MTG Finance podcast.
We are not.
So we should
We are
probably
not.
jump off
Yes.
that train.
All right. So I think that is enough on our fantastic preview card, Bruna Light of Alabaster.
Thank you, Wizards.
Yeah,
Thank you, Wizards,
was
very much.
Super gracious in allowing us to do this.
Yes, we really appreciate it. We made a lot of jokes in the beginning about them making a mistake giving us a card, but I legitimately thought they made a mistake for a minute when we got a card.
I remember when we got the email. Yeah. But
So
we're excited, and we are really happy to get this card.
we're super excited to get it, and we're very thankful for them for taking a chance on a smaller show like us. We really appreciate that. We'll be back on Monday as usual with an episode that's going to be talking about at least 2 of the decks. If not, we'll figure it out depending on how much there's to say. But we'll be doing a Commander show next week, normal time on Monday. So we will see you then. Until then, I'm Dana.
I'm Max.
And I'm Chris.